Hey, it's your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. We are going to focus in and zoom in on one of the main key issues that is experienced when you are in a relationship with a narcissist, a covert narcissist, a psychopath individual. Someone who presents with the cluster B personality disorder and really is operating by a number of key personality traits. Number one is self-gain and self-interest. A pathological sense of self-importance coupled with a lack of empathy, which means the ability to understand the feelings, needs, and emotions, desires, dreams of another, communication of another, the needs of another. And because they have a deficit in this area, because of the deficit, empathy deficit, they are not able to operate by a very sort of ethical, high moral, or really fulfilling relationship. Because they are always operating out of a self-gain, a self-interest, and coupled with the exploitation of others, it creates a whole host of confusion and cognitive dissonance with the individuals who are in their environment. And one of the main issues is that most people tend to over-idealize or over highly evaluate the narcissist. The narcissist, because of their charm, their demeanor, their smooth talker, or their in the event of the covert narcissist, someone who is very much aloof or the strong and silent type, yet is operating by self-gain and self-interest and not combined with empathy. This tends to result in a feeling of self-doubt within the people who are in their environment and a negative self-assessment. So feeling like there's something inherently wrong with me, I better listen up to this narcissist because they know what's better for me than I do. So of course, with all relationships, there's that give and take. You've coached me, you've helped me, you've been a good sounding board. I mean, that's what friends are for. To be able to listen, to be able to laugh together, to say, oh my God, I can't believe that happened, or help you, think of solutions or brainstorm or things like that. Now, with a narcissist, you're not going to get a lot of that interaction, the brainstorming, the thinking, the listening, the being the soundboard for you, the laughing with you. Oftentimes they're laughing at you and not with you. If they're making humor, oftentimes it can be very sarcastic and oftentimes based on a very severe and negative sort of judgment. And what is most hideous is that oftentimes, because people tend to follow the narcissist and feel that they're gaining instant security by associating with this individual because of their charm or their good looks or their money or whatever it is that tends to be outstanding about this narcissist, is that people tend to, by osmosis or being around them, by associating with them, by being in the same environment, they tend to pick up their negative thought patterns. They tend to think along those same judgment lines. They tend to be, absorb their criticism and that just very act of thought pattern, oftentimes which is not the true value of how the individual feels. In other words, the pathological need to control and have power over others and assess others negatively, which we see with the narcissist and the covert narcissist and sometimes with the psychopath, but they're more just trying to take what they want. They're just going to suss out whoever has whatever it is that they want, they're going to be gravitated for, they're going to objectify, they're basically going to they're just going to be parasitic and they're just going to be up onto that person for whatever it is that they want from them. Whether it's sex, food, money, a place to live, extremely parasitic. And so, when you are around these people or you associate with them or you hang out with them or you live with them or you work with them, you're going to, just by natural universal law, tend to pick up their thought patterns, their expectations, their negative assessments, and then you tend to find yourself thinking like them. And saying, but I don't really feel that way. I don't really feel like I want to over-sexualize things, or I don't want to be critical and judgmental. I don't want to like people based on only their assessment of their car or their this or their that. I love people for who they are in the inside. These might be your true values, but they might be repressed so far down that you're like, I don't even know how to think for myself anymore. Or you find more that you're disappointed in yourself, and that what I always call it's you've got your ladder up the wrong tree. You're basically where you don't want to be. You're trying to work in a job that you're not suited for. You're trying to have a lifestyle that you're not suited for. You're finding yourself in this whole predicament that is not really you. And so really it's a reclaiming of the real you. It's calling the real you back into life. It's saying, you know what, enough is enough. This is not the way that I need to think, feel, or behave, or be treated. This is not me. I'm ready to make a change. I'm ready to let this go and really begin to depend on myself and think along my values and my experiences and what makes me happy, because oftentimes people tend to try to please these people and then adopt what they like, adopt how they think, adopt how they dress, etc., versus being attuned and true to oneself. And so people oftentimes tell me, I get a lot of emails and comments, Peace and Harmony, I don't know how to feel for myself. I don't know what I want. I don't know what I like. I can't get there. I'm absolutely terrified. So this can be very scary to reclaim your life. But you can do it. You have to do this consistently, and you have to make these simple, subtle changes on a day-by-day basis, coming back, giving time for your precious self, saying, what do I really enjoy? Where's my freedom? How would it really feel to be happy? What would it really look like if I were doing what I love to do? And asking yourself the questions to help lift up the gate, lift up the limitation, lift up the expectations of the narcissist, and letting go of your need to please them, and instead really being tuned to and pleasing yourself. Because if you're always trying to live to meet up the expectations, but you're being true to yourself, you're going to basically stress yourself out. You're going to find that you're not able to maintain it. It's not going to be a sustainable lifestyle for you. So making those changes, you need to ask yourself these questions, to get to your healing. What am I doing right now that I'm sabotaging myself? In what ways am I sabotaging myself? And you'll see that oftentimes these sabotaging behaviors and thoughts and feelings are put in place by the narcissist, the covert narcissist, or the psychopath, because you're trying to live to please them and stay connected to them in a role that is not in your self-interest. It's only for their gain. And you can ask yourself, what would it feel like if I were to be free of this stress? What would it feel like if I were to be free of this criticism? What would it feel like if I were to be free of this guilt? What would it feel like if I were to be free of this obligation? What would it feel like if I were to be free of this terror? What would it feel like if I were to be free of this shame? What would it feel like if I were to be free of this social anxiety that this person has thrust me into? What would it feel like for me to be independent, autonomous, and on my own? What would it feel like to be happy? What would it feel like to be joyful? What would it feel like to be blissful? What would it feel like to be happy with others? What would it feel like to trust? And what would it feel like to trust myself? And what would it feel like to believe in myself? And what would it feel like to believe in myself in the presence of others? And what would it feel like to embrace life the way it's meant to be embraced? What would it feel like for me to be able to follow my new interests and become a new person and be transformed? What would it feel like for me to actually have a hobby and pursue it? What would it feel like for me to be independent, autonomous, and on my own and feeling relaxed and at peace? When was the last time I was really relaxed? And when was the last time I was really at peace? And when was the last time I allowed myself to really think of the solutions and become creative and be in touch with my personal power and be connected to my source energy? When was the last time I allowed myself to feel free and at peace and content? These are some of the very preliminary questions you can begin to ask yourself to help enliven and set forth a whole new pattern of emotions into your body that you can give yourself a chance to experience. And as you experience yourself, you'll be able to experience really the new feelings that you are meant to experience and really transform and become that person with which you are dreaming about, or maybe only dreaming about, but you can get a chance to feel it. And I say become a tuning fork for those positive feelings. And as you feel it, resonate it, allow yourself to rehearse and repeat and memorize those positive feelings, and begin to remind yourself of these positive feelings while you're doing your everyday activities, while you're driving your car, you're brushing your teeth, you're in the shower, you're making your dinner, you're packing your lunch, you're cleaning your home. You're allowing your body to be flooded with these positive feelings. And even if you need to unplug and become alone to feel this, take the time to do this. If you can only do it for 1 minute, 2 minutes, great. Move it up to 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, and give yourself a chance to really begin to feel these positive emotions, and then to create then around that the energetic boundary that you need to be protected, so that you'll be able to see when someone is coming in and trying to deter you and sabotage you from that positive feeling I am. And you're basically, over time, that becomes a temperament, a personality and identity. So you can see how one's life purpose was taken off track by a sabotager, such as a narcissist, a covert narcissist, or a psychopath, someone who has relationships with others strictly for their self-gain. Peace and harmony with you here today. I hope these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, the videos, discussion, and support.